What's up? Can you guys see me? Hello, 49 viewers. Okay, straight away, this is my first time, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I have that panel here. It's for live streaming. It's apparently working. But yeah. Thoughts on Redshift? I've been using Redshift for, I think, half a year now. It's amazing. It's truly amazing because you can throw anything at it. And I'm actually working on a big video comparison walk through Octane and Redshift, not like speeds comparison and things like that, but a badass comprehensive feature overview. And hopefully by the end of this video, everyone would understand what is Octane good for, what is Redshift good for, why would you choose Redshift, why would you choose Octane. I feel I actually haven't worked in Octane for the last couple of months at all, and I feel that sometimes I miss it, but I use Redshift more and more now, specifically for that comparison, to be, you know, not to speculate on anything, but test everything myself. So keep an eye on that. Oh my God, that's a lot of questions. A lot of Russians. Привет. Puerto Rico. You like Arnold? I know that a lot of people use Arnold. I haven't even tried it, but it's supposed to be really badass engine. Can't really say anything about it, sorry. Will Blender be industry standard? I would say it can be whatever it wants to be, and it depends on individual companies, because as you know, Blender was used to create that feature cartoon. It's totally super strong software on its own, and it's just a matter of time till it begins being accepted in industry, or until some new companies will start to use it as its core software in their workflow. So I always encourage people, if they started to learn Blender, don't stop, just do it, because these days what's matter is the result. It's not what you use. I personally wouldn't use a freelancer who's using Blender just because everyone in our studio are using Cinema 4D and Houdini, and in case we need to fix or change his project that he did in Blender, it will be obviously problematic. So Blender versus Maya. Yeah. Maya, I think, would be better to secure your place in industry. Green screen in Cinema 4D. Yeah, green screen in Cinema 4D can be done pretty easily. Just key it out, put it in there, put some lights in. Why did you change from PC to Mac? I didn't change PC to Mac. I don't know if I can show it here. Hope the internet won't drop. I just released the video about remote control. So the only thing I have on this Mac is Photoshop and DaVinci Resolve, because I'm doing some family videos sometimes for a quick edit here. But other than that, I'm just using it. It's a base model. It has like 500 gigs of memory. I can't even offload proper footage on here. So I'm connecting to my big machines and doing all the works on my PCs. I have one big station with 8 GPUs, 256 gigs of RAM, then another one with 128 gigs of RAM and 2 Titan RTX, and another one with 2 RTX 2080 Ti's. But this one serves as a host for deadlines, so it's kind of controlling all other machines. I'm not doing any work on Mac. I'm still not against, but I'm not recommending Mac for any actual visual effects work. If you need to do some work on a laptop, then consider Razer Blades. Pro lineup is great. It's that would be more suitable. How would you start 3D business today? Well, today in particular, I think no one can start anything because we're locked down. And I heard some terrifying stories about companies cutting working places, trying to reduce their spendings a lot. But I hope that it will end soon. The economy will bump up back as quickly as possible, and everything will be back to normal. And how to start? I think it would be good to start by finding people who you are good with. I mean, in terms of working with them, it's business is a lot about the corporate culture that you build in your company. So you have to start by finding your perfect team members. If you're not good at anything, like maybe character creation, find someone who is good and try to do something together. Over time, it will start to build up. For example, our studio, it's ran not only by me, but by several people, and these people are good in areas that I'm not good at. For example, I'm good in 3D, but my business partner, he's good at sales. He's doing sales, I'm doing work. That's how it works. I'm using Threadripper, and it feels like it has a lot of power that I can't use. Did you try to work with it? 1920. Is it the 16-core one? Was the previous generation with 32 cores. After the CPU, I'm not touching AMD at all. It was the biggest waste of money in my life. Maybe I was unlucky. Maybe it was a faulty unit. Whatever I did, I couldn't make it stable. I tried Linux. I tried different fixes that were available on the internet to force my machine to use all the cores under Windows. And in general, it was just behaving so bad. My machine was freezing, everything was crashing. And after that, because I already built a machine with motherboard with TR4 socket, so I had to utilize it somehow, and I bought 1950X, older generation as well. And this machine is now used by our designer, CG artist. And I have to admit, I am noticing that his machine is much less stable than all my other Intel builds. I don't know. Maybe I will try more AMDs in future, but nah, not now. Problems you've had to face when you started VFX. Well, pretty much I started when right before I moved to UK, and my problem was I couldn't find any job. I had really bad English, and I didn't have any corporate story like behind me. I was a freelancer for a lot of years, and everyone was saying that I had funny reasons. They sent me like, you are overqualified, and that's standard stuff. But then I was looking for a job for 8 months, I think, and then one agency finally gave me a job, and that's how it all started. But problems always are to find that start, to find that agency or people who will believe in you. And the best way to convince them to believe in you is portfolio, good showreel, good shots, case studies. So whenever you have free time, don't play games. Seriously, if you're passionate about it, go and do some good stuff for yourself. When did you start off working in the 3D industry? Well, in general, I started design career. I have a tattoo here. Whatever, 2005 is when I started. And I was a graphic designer at first. Then photography, and I wanted to enhance my photography because I was really enjoying retouch, and I wanted to start adding 3D objects. So that's how I started to dive into 3D world. 3D Max was my first one, then Maya, and then Cinema 4D. But it was 2000, maybe in 2010. I would say I started 3D. Don't really remember. Funny. What should you pursue in my career? 3D artist or coding? Oh, that's funny. So my wife's brother, he's a backend developer, Java, and he's doing well. Coders are in a high demand, as well as VFX artists. So it's kind of, I would say, don't think about your career from what you can earn kind of perspective. Think about what you would enjoy doing in the evenings. What would you enjoy doing in photography? I enjoy CG stuff, and I can do it whenever, for however long. I love it. My hobby is cinematography, so it's sort of similar thing, but it is a switch for me. So whenever I'm super tired of CG stuff, I can grab my camera, go outside. Not now, don't go outside now. But yeah, and switch to that. Go edit, color grade, do totally different things from CG. But these two things, they inspire me a lot. And I can do them for the rest of the days easily. Find that and do it. Best software for arc rendering. Do you have any experience on that field? So that actually brings me back to that question about when I started 3D. I just realized that I worked in interior agency back in Latvia, where I'm from. I worked there for half a year. So take it as it is. That's my experience in architecture and interior. The best software, the most used one, I think still is 3D Max. I have no idea why. I think it's just how it is. If we're talking about engines, I've seen a lot of really cool renders from Corona Render. What a coincidence. Corona Render, Arnold is good for that kind of stuff, but Arnold is good for anything. I think it also depends on your hardware. Your engine choice has to be a lot connected to hardware you have or you're planning to get. Yeah. Did you use Fumefx for making the smoke effect for your new intro? No, I have no idea what it is. My new intro was made so that the bird itself was made in Cinema 4D and rendered in Cinema 4D and Redshift, and the particles in the later versions of the intro were done in Houdini. So then I bake it to Alembic in Houdini, bring it back to Cinema 4D and render it like that. That's pretty much always my workflow. Whatever I do in Houdini, I bring it back to Cinema 4D and render there. Even if I need to set up something that has to be mainly simulated in Houdini, I will do it in Cinema 4D. Everything, animations, cameras, whatever, emitters, whatever I need to do there, then bring it through Alembic to Houdini, do my stuff there, export that stuff that I generated in Houdini back to Cinema 4D and finesse it there. Maybe I will switch to Houdini full-time, but I feel like I'm too stupid for it still. Do you use wax in Houdini? How to get started with wax? See, I told you, I'm not the person to ask, mate. It's complicated. Okay. Oh my goodness. The rate these questions are coming are terrifying. Are you using Redshift more often now? Do you see any difference on your type of work on Redshift compared to Octane? Yeah, the reason I actually came up with this whole topic of Octane versus Redshift video, trust me, this will be a good one because I'm working on it for like several months now. I'm documenting everything precisely. I maybe will find some time to work on it in the coming weeks. But the reason I even started to consider Redshift is because I will show you. So on my YouTube channel, in my works playlist, one sec, bear with me. This. Oh, come on. Those ads. Here we go. So this castle, it was done in Cinema 4D. The unwrapping thing was done using the chain of nodes made by some guy. He's actually listed in the description. Don't remember his name. And the main beauty of this scene was made in Houdini and then brought back into Cinema 4D. But the thing is that it has to have quite dense geometry in that 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲 3D models. So I modified the geometry to do that effect and ended up with hilarious amount of geometry for the scene. And it did render in the end in Octane because I did like the best I ever could to optimize the scene. I used my friend's rig to help me with rendering, Patrick Frigg. It's the guy who built a machine with 17 GPUs in it. So we rendered on that. We rendered on all my machines. It's 17 plus almost 30 more GPUs for more than a week, this scene. And this was the project that I had the most crashes ever. Think about Redshift, and yeah, definitely something like this, landscapes, cities, complex scenes, I would do in Redshift. Close-ups, or maybe even interiors, but when it's a single room, I would do in Octane because it's much faster to get realistic result in Octane rather than in Redshift. But if you want to do some heavy simulations, like millions and millions of particles, really dense volumes, or even atmospheric volumes, Redshift is much better in it because you can cheat and optimize so many more things. It's a tough call. I'm still using both. I haven't used Octane for the last couple of months, but I feel like I will be back to it, and I'll be just shuffling between them two depending on what's the task. And I actually had a project back in December, which we finished recently, the one I flew to film in Monaco. I haven't published it yet. But that project was really complex, and I purposely mixed engines, Octane and Redshift. So half of the shots in the big video was done in Octane and half in Redshift. And the challenge there was that it had to be rendered at 6K. So yeah, some scenes rendered fine in Octane, some were better with Redshift. I think if you're really thinking seriously about your career, you have to probably consider both. Boy. Does it take me too long to answer one question? Because there's a lot. How to increase performance of Maya viewport? It uses CPU or GPU? I actually don't remember, but I assume it's pretty much the same as Cinema's 4D's viewport, and Cinema's 4D's viewport uses one core of your CPU. So you would look not for the amount of cores, but you would be looking for the powerful single cores performance CPUs. I think Maya is the same, but both Maya and Cinema kind of a combination. Not speculating here, I'm not 100% sure. Hi Andrey, is it possible today working just with Cinema 4D without any plugins? Yeah. If you would look, how was the video called? The video called talking about render engines or about render engines. I made it like year or year and a half ago. So there is an intro with works I did using just Cinema 4D with physical render, nothing else, no plugins, nothing. Just what is possible within Cinema 4D itself. How was it coming? How was it coming up in the CG world? Were you nervous making CG your full-time job, looking at the fact there is a lot of competition in the field? When I started to consider CG as my career, I had no choice. I had no clients, I had no work, I had no money, no job, nothing. Like, have nothing to lose. So I just cracked on and started to develop my CG skills. As for competition, I think I mentioned this in How Not to Burn Out video, and it's a psychological thing. The thing is, I'm passionate about cinematography and VFX, right? So I'm not interested in cooking, let's say, and I'm not following people who are posting about cooking. I'm following other CG artists. And if I would take my phone and go to my Instagram, all you would see would be 3D models, 3D characters, photography, cinematography, whatever. And this bubble, it can trick me into thinking that everyone in the world are CG artists. But it's not true. And there is not no such thing as super duper competition. Like I sincerely believe that everyone have a chance to find a good job as long as their work is outstanding and it's different than other people. So just do your best to improve your work to stand out. You will have a chance, 100%. So the question in Russian, oh my God, it's slided somewhere. Where did you go? Anyways, the question was about how is it going on business front at the moment, because crazy times. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we are receiving terrifying stories about other studios, about other companies. It is worrying, but we shut our studio down quite early before all that stuff started because we want our people to be safe. And we are quite lucky with our clients. A couple of clients, I wouldn't say we lost. It's just everything is on hold at the moment. And these clients, they will come back after all that is gone. But we're lucky in our clients in the respect that we all can work remotely. So our team is fully unaffected. We all are working from home, still 100% capacity. We communicated with our clients that we have this, like, we're here for you. where we'll keep working and everything is fine. I heard that other studios, they have to fire some people, they have to cut salaries and things like that. But it's important to understand that it's all temporary. It's not going to last forever. Whenever it's gone, the economy will bump back. It will be like play. Someone will press play button and everything will get back to normal. Maybe not as fast, and definitely there will be some consequences, but don't forget we have a fresh experience of 2008 crisis. So I think things will be handled quite well, and no panic. Is Razer Blade laptop enough to start with octaning? Yes. Mac or PC, both laptop for After Effects. Oh my goodness, After Effects. Whenever I have to touch After Effects these days, it's just, I don't know. Why is it so badly optimized for anything? It kills me. Even just a quick example. For example, if you would export your comp as a sequence of TIFFs, right? TIFFs are heavy files. It will export faster than PNG sequence. Why? That's because probably it's compressing something on the background, and it's so poorly optimized that PNG sequence takes longer than TIFF, because TIFF is uncompressed and it's just blasting it through. So the only bottleneck you will face there would be your hard drive, the write speed. Whereas with PNG sequence, it just takes forever. I'm glad I'm not using After Effects that much these days. I think whatever hardware you will choose or laptop, it will work pretty much the same, to be honest. Bro, which card is good for Octane rendering? The best money can buy, not AMD though. Is Out of Nothing hiring? Not at the moment, but yeah, we are looking for people. So many questions. What are your most effective tips for photorealistic 3D rendering and compositing? Any answers would be extremely appreciated. Thanks. So bear with me. This is your best friend in VFX, despite this is a cinematography tool. The best way to achieve the most realistic result is to understand how to replicate effects that lenses are creating. Why are there so many lenses? Why are there different apertures? Even, for example, anamorphic lenses. It's one of the videos in production, and it's pretty cool. That's what you need to learn. Hold the real camera in your hands, and even the way you will animate cameras in your scenes will become different, because you would know how it feels, how it should feel, like the weight of the camera when you're animating something, especially dynamic scenes. Lenses, effects, flares, exposure. If you want to get a realistic image, I don't know, if you're sitting in different groups like Octane group on Facebook, a lot of people are posting like forests and stuff, but most of the times it doesn't look 100% convincing. But then sometimes someone is posting like, oh, is that a photo? and you truly believe it's a photo. But all they did is they used references like real life photos. If you're shooting forest, for example, surrounded by trees, this part of the shot is dark and the sky is bright. Surely you could get enough dynamic range to capture both dark area and highlights in the sky. But most of the times the sky would be blown out. Things like that. If you would introduce that in your shot properly, it would start looking really real straight away. And the same with our artists in studio. When something doesn't look real, first thing I recommend doing is change your light, because the light have effect on surfaces so much. Even if you have like, well, probably I don't know what reference, plastic, that they have bumpy noise on it. If you would light it like flat down, it would look flat still. But if you would light it from the side, you would suddenly start to see ton of details. That's it I can say for now. I think maybe I should make a video about it. How is life? Everything good aside from 3D work? Yeah, fantastic. Don't have to be stuck in traffic, you know. Little one doesn't need to go to school. Everyone's liking it. Hello, I have a video I want to export, but the quality is bad. What I can do to make it look better quality? Uh, was it shot in a bad way, or is it happening only after export? You start to see some bad artifacts. It's a really broad question, mate, but research codecs, maybe compressions, bit rates. A lot of tasks in production are repeating tasks, both on the project management side and on the production side. What steps have you taken to save time with these types of tasks? We hired people to do these tasks. Management is done by studio managers. 3D tasks are done, but 3D artists were not intersecting, we're not distracting each other. That's how optimization of the workflow works. I hope this was what you were asking. Probably not, but you know. Due to virus, I want to make a post-apocalyptic film. The thing is, I want to add vegetation and debris in my shots that weren't there. What is the best way to achieve that? Shoot the plate, track it, put the planes on the floor and stuff. Use mega scans to scatter some debris, grass, all that kind of stuff on top. And here you go. Simple. Can you make some advanced Blender tutorials? How can I make Blender tutorials, mate? I never use Blender. What's this? Any artist you recommend checking out? Actually, yes. I just stumbled upon this guy like literally 1 hour before I started this live. Oh God, how can I find him? He's like crazy. Didn't I save it? See, that's what I meant. In my Instagram, there are only 3D stuff. So I can think that all people are doing these days are 3D works. I can't find it. I can't find it. I will post this guy's Instagram in description after the live is done. But it's a crazy, crazy skill. Highly recommend it. Have you used 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝗲𝗃? Yes, I use 𝘃𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃s all the time. Amazing. Happy at your new place? Yeah, really happy. I'm actually happy that our sofa was delivered before all this thing started, because otherwise it would definitely be it would be more sad without sofa. Who do you know from Russian CG artists? No one. I know people. I know people from music industry in Russia. A few of them. No CG artists. Sorry, guys. Sorry about those pauses because the chat is like it's flying. Can't keep up. Can you tell about Mac graphic cards for Cinema 4D and Octane render? No. You mean like external graphic card? The problem with Macs is not hardware. The problem with Macs are brands they are using as a component. They don't use NVIDIA at all, and it's not because they're bad company or whatever, not thinking about us poor artists. It's because they have some political issues with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA wants screw Apple up quite a bit. So they're not working together anymore. And even if you would connect external GPU to your Mac now, it won't work because there are no NVIDIA drivers supported anymore. But both Redshift and Octane, both teams are working on AMD support. So whatever graphic card is in here, Radeon something, it will work with both Octane and Redshift, I think this year, definitely. What tea is it? This is, I was about to brew some pu'er, but this is fruity tea that didn't have any label on it. So many people are afraid to even start freelancing because they are afraid that they will not do good, including me. Any tips? Do good. Um, I mean, even if you're not happy with the quality of your work, everything is in your hands to improve it. All the resources in the world. It was a big part of my speech last year at Video Copilot's show in Barcelona. YouTube, for example, a lot of artists like myself, like big professionals, not that I'm big professional, but other big professionals are putting their wisdom, their knowledge on YouTube for free. And if not for free, there are affordable courses to particular topics, about particular topics, about particular softwares, like different comprehensive ones, brief ones. You can find anything. So maybe sometime, instead of watching Netflix or whatever, sit down, learn, improve your work every day, every day, every day. And you will be fine as a freelancer too. Oh, stop jumping. What is your PC setup for VFX? So I'm working on 3 workstations. If I would open the list, we have more stations, but these are the ones I'm often connecting to. I'm calling my workstations by Star Wars planets. Yeah, I have Darth Maul here. There's Master Yoda down there. Big nerd. So the 𝘃𝗶𝗱 is my main station. It's the one I'm using every day. Let's connect to it and see what the specs are. I hope the light won't drop. So system, what I have here. So 128 gigs of RAM, Intel Core i9-9960X, and this machine has 2 Titan RTX. So this is my load horse. I can drop whatever in the world in Redshift, in Octane. It will handle anything, doesn't crash ever. It's and yeah, I'm monitoring all my renders through Deadline on this machine. Let's disconnect to save our internet speeds. That's one. Second one is my old build, which I have a video about. Remember that one about maintaining your water cooling loop? So that's the second one, but with two 2080 Ti's in it. And the third one is the beast. There will be a dedicated video about it because there was a deal between me and the guy who built it for me that we will shoot a video, and it's quite interesting because I will be talking about important parts in your PC build in that video. So this build is 256 gigs of RAM that can be upgraded up to 2 terabytes of RAM. Think about it, 2 terabytes of RAM. Crazy. So, and this one has 8 2080 Ti's in it, and it's fully water cooled with 2 pumps. It's total badass, almost 90 kilograms of a machine. Beast. That's my third one. Different price ranges in there, and I'm using them all. So the work can be done on any of them. Where you work. Can you hear that? My light is going crazy. Where do you work? I'm a co-founder of a production agency here in the UK, in Winchester. The agency is called Out of Nothing. Why don't you work in VFX industry like Framestore or Industrial Light and Magic? Because I'm a ambitious, shaved Russian man that wants to become Industrial Light and Magic myself with my team, with my company. Привет. Not reading it in Russian because I don't have subtitles. Oh, okay. I'll translate it. Hi, Andrey. Do you still remember Russian? Can you say hi? Oh, he recognized my accent. У меня нет никакого акцента. Я прекрасно разговариваю на английском языке. Let's make some toots about deadline. Arsenii. Deadline. Deadline may be tricky when you first starting it up. It was confusing for me. And the main concern I had about it that I found 0 videos about is what to do when you have a centralized server within your team. So the way Deadline works, it's a render manager, by the way, if someone doesn't know. It's the one with those green lines I had on my screen. The way it works, it needs a host. It needs a machine that is 24/7 on. It's a database. It manages everything, like the brain of all the processes. And then, so the database is installed on that machine, and then Deadline requires repository where you submit all your jobs to. My problem was that I didn't want to export all my projects, all the assets, all dependables are stored in a centralized server in the studio. And I didn't want to export one single scene with all the assets to that repository on that machine. And I didn't know that you don't have to, as long as all the machines see the server in the same way. Just submit the scene and it renders it straight away. That was confusing. I was suffering for a couple of months. God. Sometimes I get confused. I do modeling, animation, compositing, motion graphics, VFX, videography. I like it all. So what should I pick? Don't pick, mate. Do it all. What? Oh my God! The chat is it just keeps jumping. I can't keep up. What job did you do before Out of Nothing? Before Out of Nothing, I was a motion graphic designer at the agency in Southampton called 5x5. They were the guys who gave me my first job in the UK. Okay, another Russian question about my Padawan thing on the channel when you click join scheme. So yeah, it still works. It's I believe, so you pay like subscription of 45 quid a month, and then what I do, I invite you to our dedicated chat with where we talk, where everyone's asking questions, how to achieve that, or hey, Andrey, I have a problem here, and usually I respond within 10 minutes with the solution or with advice or with the video where the solution is. So we share our things there. Currently, there are 13 participants in that program. If you wish, you can join. You just need to click the join button under my channel and choose Padawan level. How do you manage your projects from getting the project up to submitting the project? Sorry, I didn't get the question. What you are thinking about VR in future? That's interesting question. I'm really skeptical about VR. I personally did a couple of VR projects and they never were successful because VR was, is, and will be a really weird thing for people to consume as long as you need to put a bloody thing on your head to immerse it. I don't think it's not going anywhere. Seriously, it will become obsolete technology really soon, just because there are technologies like 𝘁𝗶𝗰𝗀 vision of the future is quite amazing. There are a lot of speeches by 𝘁𝗶𝗀𝗲, not pronouncing his name because I'm afraid of making a mistake, 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀. He made a lot of speeches about what VR will be in future, and basically as soon as you won't have to put anything on your head to immerse virtual reality, that's the future for it. And it will be absolutely different experience. And there are already technologies out there that allow, like, let's call it holographic panels, but it's basically like LCD panels, LED panels, that they render image responding to the position of your head. So perspective of the image on the panel changes as you move your head. So that's VR, when you don't have to put anything on your head and you interact with the image. The problem there is that actually the whole technology allows you to move in space, not just rotate your head, and the image will respond. The problem there is that to render the content for such technology, you need there is no such power existing at the moment. So that's where it's all going. Andrey, can you make a video about estimates, contracts, and down payments with clients? I'm sure lots of people would appreciate that. But I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with management or anything money related. I I hate it. I get why it would be useful for you, especially as freelancers. Well, actually, I have my old price lists, and but I never worked on under contracts created by me. I always accepted clients' contracts. What I like about working in the UK, and well, I didn't have that many American projects, but even Americans, is that they always, most of the times, honest. So there won't be tricks, and in this particular industry, there is no point of um, spoiling your relationship with not paying a freelancer or a freelancer not delivering work. If you want a long-going relationship with the company or with the freelancer, you won't do that. That's what I like about, let's call it Western mentality in this particular industry of any kind of art. How do you structure your time between family, life, client, and personal work ambitions? I don't. I totally suck at that. Mm, Whenever I have time, I spend it with my family, but I would say my life consists of I'm working, working all the time. My wife just comes to me, Andrey, we're going for a walk, and then we're going for a walk. Yeah. Are you going to release the Out of Nothing black t-shirt you've been wearing in a few videos? Would love to get one. I'm super happy that you liked it. The thing is, uh, the brand itself, it's not just mine, whereas YouTube is just mine. So I can't sell something that is not entirely mine as a brand on my personal channel and get all the fees myself, if that makes sense. Go to college or start working in a VFX company? Um, I don't want to do it as a propaganda because my wife would judge me. But I think there is no point in college, especially if it's art related. It's either it is in you or it's not in you. That's it. And all the resources, much better than in colleges, are available online. That's VFX and CG related. What I would recommend you to do is to attend to a film school or a film academy to learn camera, cinematography, and learn VFX while you are there. Then after you graduate, you have a solid real life knowledge about cameras, lenses, everything apart from VFX. Then you can learn VFX and be a totally badass. Houdini tutorials? Nah, I don't think so. Not yet. What is the way to get into 3D without an expensive setup? Oh, the thing is that expensive hardware, expensive machines, they are not essential. I started VFX with 2012 MacBook Pro, and all the works I made then, they were all rendered on one single MacBook in Cinema 4D in physical render. Nothing else was used because I didn't have anything else. Um, as you go, you get more money. It's, I don't know, it's like a snowball. It's a life thing. It just happens. If you're doing your thing, everything else will come. Money, hardware, expensive hardware. I actually received quite a lot of comments from people on YouTube about, oh, you're probably rich. You have so many. Someone said like, You have so many gadgets behind you. You're probably rich. Yeah, but I worked for a lot of years to be able to get those gadgets. It's a logical thing. Tips on how to make an easy rope or thread in Cinema 4D Octane. Well, if it's Octane, then just animate the spline, make it dynamic or whatever. You asked about dynamic. Easy rope or thread, whatever. Draw a spline, attach an object tag to it, render as that hair, and then create a material with rope texture on it, drop it there, and here you go. Without spending any resources, quite literally, you have a good rope. Any film school you would suggest in UK? No, I don't know. I actually have. Oh, one university. I gave an interview for them. What was the name? Oh my god, I don't remember. I will post it in this video description after the stream is done. They're pretty good and they operate in different countries too. What do you think about Unreal Engine 4 in 3D visualization? Oh my god, I've seen such amazing things in game engines, Unreal and Unity. It's amazing what they can do these days. And megascans, Quixel megascans, they became a part of what? Of Unreal Engine they became a part of. So it's crazy what they've done in those engines, but I don't think it's still suitable for VFX production, because VFX production will be, for quite some time from now, still be offline thing to render, just because of the amount of details necessary in movie shots to be properly solved, if that makes sense. I would be interested to try Unreal Engine. I actually did try, realized I really suck at it, and then I never had time again. How long do you invest time for medium detailed CG work? So how long does it take me for medium detailed CG work? I would call this as medium detailed CG work. Took maybe a month in my spare time, and then week or more to render. How did you manage to get the work away from your country? Well, I just came here and said, you give me job. And yeah, they gave me job. Which software to use in VFX and motion tracking, please? Until recently, I would recommend Synthesize or PF Track, because they're dedicated to that particular task. They're doing an amazing job, but they are also quite pricey, which is not a good thing. So I started to work more and more with Cinema's 4D's native tracker, because I'm doing an amazing job recently. I don't know, something changed from initial motion trackers. In R20 or in R21, Cinema's 4D's motion tracker is just unbelievable. Sometimes can track untrackable stuff. Crazy. 3D Max versus Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D. Can I use Cinema 4D even with i5 processor? You can use Cinema 4D on a potato, maybe. One-element 3D tutorials. Then Andrey 𝘁𝗵𝗀𝗀 is your best friend. Didn't read my comment. I'm sorry, my apologies, but if you would be sitting here looking at that jumpy thing, you would understand why. Actually, what I will say, if I missed your comment, your question, post it in the comments and I promise I will answer it there. It's just seriously, guys, it's my first time doing this live thing, and this chat there, it jumps like crazy. It's like, it's floating. Sometimes even when I'm reading a question just disappears and I have to remember half of it. What do you look for when hiring a motion designer full-time? So our recent hire, our junior CG artist, he was a waiter before and no real big experience in CG industry at all, but I've seen passion in him, and he just loves what he does, like 3D modeling, creatures, VFX, and you can hear it when you speak to a person. If he's really into it, if he loves it, you will hear it. I don't know, it's hard to say. People have to love what they're doing. And I think partially our business is successful because we have only amazing human beings in our team. There are no bad people, seriously. And I think it's also specific to that industry because everyone loves what they're doing. It's cool when you're sharing the love to art with others. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. Of course, good portfolio and show reel, that's why we looking for people. But mainly it's the ability to own your stuff. Like, when you're going to company, you're not going to kindergarten. No one wants to babysit you. And the management in that company, they want you to own your stuff, to provide solutions to problems, to provide real value to the company. I just joined the membership. Any idea how I could join the chat? Which chat? The one I showed you there? So if you join the membership, there is a message in my community tab on my channel. There's an email where you have to send me stuff that I ask in that post, okay? And then I'll invite you. Do you still use ACES for compositing CG and live? Oh, yes, I'm doing it all the time. Every single shot, ACES, ACES. Is ACES available in Octane? I heard it is in the latest one, 2020. It should be there. Haven't tried that yet, but the big selling point for me, like 4 months ago in Redshift, was ACES. It supports ACES. It's good. What about Blender? Already mentioned Blender here. Rewatched the live. Can a Blender artist get a job in the mainstream VFX industry? I think it depends where you look for. Maybe even big studios have departments of artists using different softwares. I don't know, never worked there, but I imagine like in future it might as well be the case. There will be different departments of my artists than Cinema 4D for MoGraph and abstract motion design stuff, and then maybe Blender, just because why not? I'm a beginner in 3D and I have a bad habit that makes me want to learn everything at once. Then I end up with getting frustrated and do nothing. Your advice, please. I can honestly tell you that you're not alone. when I started, I wanted to learn everything same way. And it's just how it is. It only shows you that you are really passionate about that stuff, and that's your big like red dot showing you where to go. Just do it, keep doing it. If you want advice, I would advise to narrow down the segment that you want to maybe improve more than others. If it's photography, maybe do that and use others to spice up your photography, if that makes sense. Because that's what I was doing. I was doing photography, and then I wanted to spice up my retouch by doing 3D and then see how it turned out. Oh, it jumps again. Best YouTube channels for motion graphics. Motion designers community, they always do cool stuff, tutorials. David Arya from iDesign, I don't know how they pronounce their channel. They're doing amazing job. Motion design, you asked. That's probably it. I'm not that much interested in motion design. Also, there's a guy in Octane group on Facebook, 𝘁𝗶𝗰𝗸. I hope I pronounced it properly. He's doing like unbelievably brain-melting landscapes works in Octane and Cinema 4D, and he's making tutorials on YouTube. I will post everything who I'm referencing in the video description later. He's amazing. Which render farm you use? Mostly none, because we have more than 30 GPUs in-house and rendering everything in-house. But during Christmas, there was a massive project. I used a render farm because otherwise we wouldn't make it in time. Ranch computing, yeah, I think that's the name of the render farm. I think they're the most expensive ones, but the ones that are actually working. It's a really solid, robust render farm. They're French, I think, in Paris. And customer service is amazing. If you have any troubles or you're not satisfied or you're unhappy, drop them a line. They will do their best to satisfy you. At what age did you start learning VFX CG? I already replied. I think CG and VFX 2009, 2010, and design in general from 2005. Have a tattoo here with number, just in case I'll forget. What is your primary skill? So a lot of you are struggling with that thing when you want to learn anything. That's me. That's called generalist. You like want to do everything. I really want to learn and be good at character design, like organic characters, but I really suck at that and don't have time to learn it. I would say generally my good skill is the eye for details. If something doesn't look real, I can pretty well pick up what's wrong and what has to be fixed. So I would say lighting and texturing is my best skill. Can you try to time out people who keep repeating their questions? No, mate. They are just posting like 10 questions in a row and then everything's jumping. What can I do? It's my first time. How many years have you been doing 3D? Around 10 now. Your personal short film? Don't have any personal short films yet, but yeah, that's a big ambition. And we have people, we have gear, We have people with more gear. We just don't have time. Do you think it's worth spending the extra time and effort learning Houdini, or do you think C4D is enough, especially if they rewrite their code? Oh my God, yeah, that's a good thing you asked, because that's absolutely the same dilemma I'm having at the moment. I heard the same rumors that they are rewriting their codes. I actually spoke to director of marketing of Europe or something like that on LinkedIn, and I don't remember what he said. It was a year ago, but I think that is the case. They might be rewriting the code because it's 2020. It can't be the same. Cinema 4D has to become multi-threaded in all the senses. I know there are specific tasks that are not possible in multi-threading, but it has to happen. And if all the simulations and dynamics will become much more powerful in Cinema 4D, I swear to God, I will quit the idea of trying to learn Houdini as much as I can, because I don't have time, really. I am doing a lot of stuff in Houdini, but I feel like I'm nowhere near being a professional in Houdini. I'm doing my things done, like big pyro simulations, like smokes and details. They're done like 100% faster than any 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲 or whatever we'll do in Cinema 4D. Particles simulations in Houdini, I'm doing it exclusively in there, just because I don't want to wait for hours when I know that I would better spend a couple of hours setting it up in Houdini and then click cache, and it will cache much faster, and overall it will be the same time as in Cinema 4D. If they will change the code, I will get rid of the idea of Houdini, probably, because I don't know. At this particular moment, right now, yeah, it totally makes sense learning Houdini. Do you think Unreal Engine will affect compositing positions? No, I don't think any artists' positions will be affected in foreseeable future, at least, because human factor is still human factor. My God, these questions killing me. I think, why don't you do tutorials in Russian? Someone asked in Russian. I have to answer in English because there are no subtitles in this video. Because I live in UK, not planning to go back to my country. Latvia is a Russian-speaking country, but we're not planning to go back there. We're not planning to go to Russia. We still speak Russian at home with my daughter, with my wife. Between ourselves, we're speaking Russian. But I live in UK. My clients are all British or Americans, and there is no point of me targeting audience that is far away. I'm kind of part of this part of the world now. What do you think about Fusion? Fusion is amazing. That's my main compositing tool. I love Fusion. I would love to use Nuke, but I can't really justify Nuke's price for the size of our business at the moment. But Fusion can do virtually almost same stuff that you would be able to do in Nuke. And I really like that they integrated Fusion, a sort of limited version, into DaVinci, because whatever motion designy And the things I had to do previously in After Effects, I can now do directly in DaVinci, which is crazy. I don't even have to jump out of the software to do it. I can track the shot, type the text, animate the lines, and things like that right in DaVinci. It's crazy. And I actually don't recommend Premiere anymore because since I got back to DaVinci again, it's like day and night. DaVinci all the way. Black magic. Oh, questions. So it's been an hour and 16 minutes. Blimey, that's fast. I think we will wrap it up quite quick because by some reason I'm starting to have a headache. It's because of that jumpy chat. It's crazy. How did you make our logo? How did you animate it? Explain it. So my logo is really old. And a couple of years ago, I redesigned it in Illustrator, and my colleague at work helped me to properly make it like a logo in Illustrator because he's professional in it. So what I had was the outlines of my logo, and he helped me to draw splines in that shape. The splines were imported in Cinema 4D, and then I put these splines in 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀. The 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 has controls like end and start, which will just grow the geometry along the spline. That's it. Super easy, isn't it? How to plan to become a great artist like you. Oh, thank you. Just become a great artist, mate. Will you ever do a full CGACES workflow tutorial? It's confusing since Cinema 4D won't let you change the native color space from sRGB. You don't need to change, unless Cinema 4D's engine is your rendering engine, you don't need to change anything in Cinema 4D. Redshift manages colors on engine level, so you can specify these things in there. I don't think there is point at the moment to make that tutorial yet, when or maybe there is, because both Octane and Redshift does support ACES now. I will think about it because time crisis I have. Okay, someone made a really interesting compliment to me in Russian and then asked how can I render Fumefx in GPU renderers? Fumefx, it's what? It's like sim engine. Any simulation engine can export VDB sequences, VDB files. VDB is specifically, it's funny when you repeat it, VDB. So these VDB files are created specifically for volumes. So you cache it into VDB, and then your GPU render engine has a dedicated VDB importer. I think in Octane it's VDB object, or is it in Redshift? Whatever. VDB is something that where you can load your VDB sequence, and then it will render your volumes. And thank you for a compliment. Is Fusion better than Nuke? No, I don't think so. There are a lot of third-party tools for Nuke that are mind-blowing, like face trackers, body trackers, and things like that, but they are only available for Nuke. But it's so expensive, it's just crazy. Do you think traditional art fundamental would help as a 3D artist? Yeah. Yeah. storyboarding, concept art, definitely. I mean, people, I had a comment like a couple of days ago. The guy said like, oh my God, I learned Blender for a year just to find out that it's not used in the industry. Don't think about anything you learned like that. There is no such thing as wasted knowledge. Principles and everything is useful. Everything you ever learned, especially art related, will be useful one day. Don't worry. Oh my God, guys, you're duplicating questions, and then I don't understand what's going on here. What is the best way to learn? Learn one area like rigging, and after that, control or all subjects together. If you like to learn all the subjects together, learn them all together. There is no harm. What do you think about Blender and Octane? I think it can be superb combo. When is the next stream? I don't know. Did you like this? How's the quality? Because on my monitor there, I don't like the exposure, but my stream here on the laptop is looking quite a bit darker. How was the sound? Let me know in the comments. How was the video? How was the sound? And maybe we could do it every week. What is this under your monitor? This is Atom Mini. It's a broadcasting switcher, so I can have several inputs to it. If I would have several cameras, I would be able to press these buttons and change the input. For example, I can click this and show you my logo, or get back to stream, or turn off the broadcasting thing. I don't need anything else. I connect my camera to this. Don't need any software. I can stream to YouTube straight away. Oh my God, seriously? The letterbox was there all the time? I thought it's YouTube's interface. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Why did you switch to MacBook Pro? Is it possible to be rich from this job? Yeah, like in any other job, you start as an artist, then you become a senior artist, then you become a director, then you may become a head of department or something, and of course, salaries are what's the word? Salaries are changing with your positions. Yeah, I think you can. This is the next stream. Great, sound great. Good. I will get rid of letterboxes later. It's hilarious. When is the next video coming out? A long pause before the last two videos. Yeah, because I was extremely busy. It was crazy. Unfortunately, it is what it is with when you have a full-time job and YouTube is not your full-time job. You know, the next video will be this week, probably, I hope. And I really hope I will be able to start at least recording that Octane versus Redshift thing this week, because it will be a long video, it will be a comprehensive one, and probably a big one, from educational point of view. Have you tried to make deepfakes, and are you worried AI will take CG jobs? Haven't tried doing deepfakes yet, but and no, I'm not worried AI will take CG jobs. just yet. Trust me, we won't see it in our generation. Okay, 4 more minutes and I'm off. Stream while work on project. This will be extremely boring thing because my face is like poker face. I'm not a multitasker. I need to do what I'm doing with my music, whatever, my classical or cinematic music in my ears without distractions. How to increase skills. YouTube, mate, YouTube. What is it in the glass, vodka or tea? This is tea, mate, tea. I'm not drinking alcohol, to be honest. I started to drink a couple of beers since that Corona stuff happened, but generally I'm not drinking at all. Why did you switch your Razer Blade to a MacBook? So I'm doing a review about this monitor and I'll explain more in details there, but basically, can you see this? So if I'll move Darth Maul like that, how I hit the cable. So this is all I need to connect to be able to charge the laptop and transmit the signal to my monitor. This is a brilliant thing about MacBooks. Razer Blade can do this too, but the problem with Blade is it's much more powerful and it needs 120 watts of power delivery, whereas this MacBook can charge from 86, which this monitor is providing. This, I can't pronounce it. So this monitor is charging my laptop and I only need one cable, which is neat. Plus MacBook, I always adored their screens. It's always 100% precise colors transmission. Yeah, and it's just convenient for internet and personal stuff. And since I'm connecting to my big workstations anyway, I gave away my Razer Blade to our artist in the studio and got myself a MacBook. Opinion for the latest trap code, particular and form. I don't have one because I'm not using After Effects at all, to be honest, but other artists in the studio are using it. I will ask them. Okay, it's been their boxes from the camera. It's crazy. Okay, if I haven't answered your question, please leave it in the comments, and I promise I will answer all the questions I will receive under this Q&A video. It was an interesting experience. I quite liked it, to be honest. I didn't think it will be like that, but maybe we should do it every week. I'll consider this. Thank you for being with me today. Stay safe. Peace.